another question just popping in my head, I'm just going with what's popping in my head, is, so who are your peers, Dr. Rand? Like, who do you get to talk to about these things? Because it's not mainstream.
Well, who knows what's going to happen? There are a lot of people interested in it, and I think people, they look at these wonderful drawings, and there are many websites that show the wonderful drawings that people have done. And I'm interested in the very beginning processes. I feel I'm just a beginner, really. And I'm interested in the underlying soul of the situation as it reveals itself to me. So I'm interested in the process of learning. So fortunately, I have a mentor who is interested in this. And of course, it's not all I do with my day. I mean, I do grocery shopping and play with my grandchildren as often as I can, and read and write, and it is one of my areas of interest that always leads me forward. There are unfolding dreams here that I have to just think about and wonder about. Study what other people have said. We're so indebted, all of us, to great teachers. So it's important that we take time to study their work, not just flip through it and get a whiff of it, but to actually surrender into the care they've taken to explore things, to learn their language, to experience their language, to experience the forms they're trying to talk about.
Who are the great people that you study?
Well, I, of course, have been very deeply involved with Carl Jung's work for many, many years. And in my illness, I couldn't read very much, so I started reading the collected works all over again and found lots of little tiny things. We're used to reading second and third hand accounts of what people have written. It's not the same as reading what they've written. So Carl Jung is one of them. I love to read and study the work of Keith Critchlow. I have a whole library of stuff here. Danita, as you know, my walls are practically caving in with many, many wonderful thinkers and writers. Russell Lockhart's work has touched me very profoundly. In my old age, I'm rereading many of the people who've touched me profoundly. So I love the work of Gandhi and the great teachings from India. There's just so many. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. One time I talked with you, and you did talk about going on the internet and seeing the work that was being done, but somehow some of them you described it as like a wow factor. Can you talk more about that and how your teachings are different than sort of the wow factor?
Well, I think the wow factor, as I've come to call it, is endemic in our culture. People need to be wowed, and isn't this great? And of course, to look at the creation of something like the magnificent stained glass windows in Chartres, that we can stay with Chartres Cathedral for a moment, is absolutely awesome. And one can't help looking at these shapes and feeling a sense of awe. But I'm just a beginner, so I like to start with very simple, hands-on, simple experiences. For me, that's my way of being grounded and staying in touch with my body and my dreams from last night and my family obligations. It's, for me, a profound study that doesn't take me into so much what I call the wow territory. Am I making sense?
Yeah. I think it's like, even for me, sometimes in some ways it's so big, maybe even not able to be described by words, that it's hard to put it in words. You know, like it's hard to put it in questions because the words are, the words to use in the question, you have to be sometimes so careful how to pick them.
Quite right. And this is why we just do it.
Yeah.
We do the practice of it.
Yeah. Actually, just before recording this call, you were saying that, we're attempting to put in words what actually is a visual. And, it's two different
visual
languages.
And experiential, Danita. Visual and with our hands, working with our hands.
Yeah.
And,
so it's actually three different languages.
Yes. If we were real craft people who are building things like this, we would be working with our whole bodies. And our culture and our educational systems so often seem to reduce things to abstracted language. I mean, in a way we're working with abstract ideas, but that's different from abstracted language. And people just sit and, press buttons.
Yeah. And
so,
even our screens at this moment in time are all two-dimensional.
Yes.
And, so it's even that in terms of perspective.
Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah. Now, do you think that there is relevance that your whole, the process began at a time when you were deathly ill?
Could be. I can't say anything terribly definite about that. I can only say it happened.
Yeah.
I really don't know that I can say any more about that at the moment, although I suspect that many deathly ill people have very profound experiences of these matters, if I can leave it like that. Often they don't know how to talk about it. I had a friend who died a couple of years ago, and when she was in the palliative care of the hospital, I thought I would take her one of my drawings, my geometry drawings that I had made. I just thought she might like to look at it. I put it up at the end of her bed, and several times she said to me, "I just love to look at it. I just turn my eyes to look at it. It's so comforting." Now, that's all I can say about that. I felt pleased that I'd been able to give her something that touched her deeply and comforted her. And that's just a little story of my experience with a dear friend.